So,
good morning.
hi, good morning. So, anyone practiced on this Hadoop starter? I mean, like not installing or anything, any further steps other than the installing?
Yeah, good question to the team. Who is that anyway?
Shiva?
Is this Murali Kailasapur?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Shiva.
Yeah, hi. I think Akila did a lot of practicing. Actually,
Wow, that's great.
Vasu also did.
Not lot, Shiva. I'm just trying to learn something. That's it.
Oh, you started, I mean, long back, right?
Yeah, now I'm into Impala.
Okay, okay.
Oh, that's great. Sounds good.
And Srinivas is also already working on that. Not just installations, he's working on Impala 2 installations. Okay. So, yeah, let me start sharing my screen. So let's go. Okay. So, yeah, yesterday we have discussed the HDFS 1 architecture and 2.0 architecture and all its architectural components, roles, and responsibilities. And after that, we talked about safe mode, we talked about balancer, we talked about HDFS commands, right? So Hadoop FS commands we talked about. So let's further continue. And today we'll be discussing the, so one question that we did yesterday, how do we copy data from one cluster to another cluster, Distcp, and some of the Hadoop admin commands. Okay. So mostly you don't need this because you will not have access to this, but at least have a awareness on this. Okay. So I just created one slide for that. I will quickly finish that in five minutes or so. So after that, we'll be jumping into some archive files, HAR files, and Java clients for HDFS file operations. Okay, so this is the agenda for today's session, and I will give you some assignments. And most probably, this is not just limited. I will be uploading few more by UOD today into the drive, Google Drive. Okay, so yeah, and after that, from Monday onwards, we'll be starting with MapReduce and YARN architectures. Okay.
Shiva?
Yeah.
Nitu here.
Yes, Nitu.
Before MapReduce, you will be taking the second Java lesson as well?
Yes, second Java lesson this Saturday I will plan. Actually, I thought of taking today itself, today evening, but I have some other client meetings.
Okay.
I will plan this Saturday only.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I should have completed that before before explaining this Java client for HDFS file. But anyway, just if you didn't get much of it, if you have any gaps in understanding Java clients for HDFS file operations today, revisit this video once again after completion of your second part of the session. Okay, so there I will cover the basic Java file read and write operations. Okay, so let me so this one, yeah, as Akhil was asking yesterday, inside the same HDFS cluster, if you want to copy data from one directory to another directory, you have the command. Okay, so let me mute others. There is some background noise. Okay. So inside the same HDFS cluster, if you want to copy data from one directory to other directory, you have the cp command. But across the clusters, from one cluster to another cluster, if you have to copy a table data or a directory data, then we have the distcp command. So this is a distributed file copy tool, and generally, unlike the other commands that we have seen, this actually submits a map reduce job. So the other commands that we have seen, they are like the Java clients. Internally, they will have Java code getting converted, and they will run on the cluster, and they will come back with the results. But this is this submits the map reduce framework, this distcp command, and it achieves the parallel processing as well. Okay, that means, yeah, and this is the only option that you have across the clusters. And the command syntax is very simple. So usually this tool is useful for copying files between clusters from production to development or UAT environments. So where you need to get the data from clusters. Okay. So its basic syntax is Hadoop distcp, your source directory, and followed by the target directory, space followed by the target directory. And in this source directory, you should give the full URI. Okay, so full path of that directory. So including the name node host name and the port number on which your name node services or Hadoop services are running. Okay, so for example, this is one of the real-time command that we use to get our data from dev environment to QA environment. Suppose where we have some tables present in the dev environment, and for testing people, if they don't have the data, so we can copy this way. And distcp with the -update option will copy only the missing files in the target directory. And this is always recommended to go with -update option. The reason is, if you already have 10 files copied into this target directory and only 10 are left in the source, even though 20 are there in total, so only the remaining 10 files will get copied into the target directory. Okay, so if the target directory is completely empty, then all the 20 files will get copied from source to target. And skip CRC check. So sometimes maybe across the network, if you get any cyclic redundancy check, this is a network algorithm, right? So to make sure that whether this data got transferred successfully or not or something. Okay, but this is sometimes relatively takes a longer time if you don't skip that CRC check, and if you feel like you have a lot of data, so sometimes we skip this. So that's why I kept it this here. Okay, but yeah, this is up to you whether to skip or keep that. But this is the basic command. That's it. So this is my development environment name node host name, and on that 8020 port number, as I was telling you, right? So 8020 is the default HDFS IPC port number, inter-process communication port number, and 50070 is the HTTP port number. And HTTP port numbers are useful only to browse your files through the web browser. Okay. But in these commands, anywhere if you are referring to the port number, it should be IPC only, always 8020 only. So HDFS colon, so this path followed by my directories /user/ this is my ID, and this is a table name or directory, the directory where I have all the files in this. Now all these files will get moved on to this QA environment and to this directories, and this is the target directory. And here you should make sure that, so with whatever user you are running this command, so that user should have write permissions on this parent directory on your target environment. Otherwise he can't copy that data. Okay. So this is a very simple command only. Unfortunately, you will not be able to run this in your pseudo cluster. Okay, but if you remind me sometime later, I will try to show this in the cluster itself, in the real cluster, moving from one environment to another environment. But for now, I'm skipping that. It's the running command. Okay.
Okay, Shiva, one question. This is Hemant here.
Yeah.
Is this command generally used by developers or predominantly used by admin?
By developers also.
By developers also?
Yeah.
Okay.
So suppose you have a dev environment and you have the data prepared for a development environment, and you have developed an application and you want to move it into testing environment. So testing people will have different environment, right? So if they don't have the test data, so generally we'll move from our dev environment to testing. Okay. So this is one of the actual command that I used to run from dev to QA.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So Hadoop's Distcp is better option to copy bulk data. So huge number of files from one machine to another, or cluster to cluster. Okay. So then using fs-put or fs-cb commands. The thing is, this Distcp can be used within the cluster also. Okay. So if you give the same host name here, and if you give the other directory, you can copy from one directory to another directory within the same cluster also. Okay. And as part of your assignments, I want you to give a try. So find out the trash Distcp with fresh copy example screenshots. Consider, I mean, do whatever you can. So upload consider some 500 MB file, 500 MB text file or anything, 500 MB file. So this 500 MB file you only have to create. I will not be providing some 500 MB file and upload it to HDFS. Okay, and then So where do we upload? Into HDFS. Okay. So consider some 500 MB file and upload it to HDFS. Then use HDFS or Hadoop FS-CP command to copy into another HDFS directory. Okay, so you can use the Hadoop FS-CP command to copy from one directory into another HDFS directory, right? And measure the time. Okay, and next time use Hadoop Distcp into another HDFS directory and measure the time difference. Okay, so if you feel like so Distcp won't work in pseudo cluster, right? How to work on this? So Distcp works on your pseudo cluster, but across if you have to copy data from one cluster to another cluster, you don't have second cluster itself in your CentOS, right? So you have only one pseudo cluster. So what I am trying to say is Distcp can be used to copy data from one cluster to another cluster, and also it works for copying the data within the cluster also from one directory to another directory. Okay, so if you feel like Distcp is not faster than Hadoop FS-CP command, I want you to give it a try with 1 GB or 2 GB files as well. And let me know your observations. Which one runs faster? And also, for these things, I want you to, first I want you to try with a minimum of 500 MB or 1 GB or 2 GB files. Okay, so take any files, any type of file. File type is not mandatory. And also the performance differences, if you observe any performance differences between your put command and copy from local. So they both are for same purpose, right? But I want you to give me are there any performance differences between these two on 1 GB file upload into HDFS. And similarly for get. Okay, so in our Hadoop technology or big data technology, anywhere, whatever operation you do, that will be measured in terms of performance only. Whether will that be scalable or not, first they will look into that. Okay, so which one is better, which one will give you, at least even if it gives 2 seconds better performance, they will go with that only. Even 1 second better performance, they will go with that only. Okay. So I want you to list down the performance differences between these as well. Okay. 8, 9. Okay, so that is all about Distcp.
Shiva, quick question, Shiva.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Distcp. If I have to copy the whole, like the disk, the one node, one data node. Can I use Distcp for that, or this is only for schemas?
See, here for your question, I mean, your question is bit weird. Like, you can, if you want to copy from one cluster to another cluster, there is one parent directory. Let's say there is a directory called Anand, and under that directory you have some again tens of subdirectories, and inside those subdirectories you have thousands of files. Copying all of them in one go is possible. So copying data from one data node, how will you identify data for one particular data node?
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah, because the data node, we don't know what data is stored on data node, right?
Yes. We know only the file names. And if we ask name node will tell you where all those blocks will be copied. That's it. Performance time need to be observed, or there is any command to timestamp. Performance time need to be observed. You don't have any command to get the timestamp along with those commands. So what you can do is put these commands in shell script. So this is a shell script, right? I have shown you basic shell script, right? So whatever the commands that I am running in the terminal, before that and after that, so let me show you this way. So some file.sh, right? So here, so date or time. So use the date or time command, and after that Hadoop fs hyphen put command, and following after that again date. So by default date will print time also. Okay, and again if I put the date, it got changed. So how much it took 5 seconds difference, right? So use this way: date followed by your command and followed by date. Then it will print your date first and then execute the command, and then again it will print the date. So then you can measure the difference between those two. Okay. You can put all of them in one shell script itself. Date command followed by date, again command followed by date, again command followed by date, and then you can measure the differences. Okay. So I want you to come up with how much difference. So whether I would expect screenshots for those performance differences. So that's bit about the Distcp. So next we have DFS Admin. So as the name itself suggests, it is for a distributed file system administration command. Okay, so and it is accessible only by your Hadoop administrators in real-time clusters, but in your pseudo cluster, so you can run all these commands. Okay, so basic system administration activities like getting the file system report, and if you want to manually put your name node into safe mode, yes, you can do that, so that you will what will happen in safe mode. So this will checkpointing will happen during that safe mode, right? So generally we these days, at least when after secondary name node got into picture of Hadoop architecture, so this manually putting name node into safe mode is no longer recommended, or that is no longer a good practice. Okay, and whenever a new data node is added to the cluster, so they can refresh they have some commands to refresh here. Okay, so this is report command option -safe mode, enter into safe mode, leave from the safe mode, and get the status of safe mode, and to refresh the nodes And if they are upgrading their hardware, their Hadoop version, they can keep that Hadoop version in a trial mode for a month or so. And if they don't face any issues, they can finalize the upgrade. Otherwise, they can roll back also. So this is for the administrators. And this command is for meta save and filing. So metadata will get saved, and fetch image is like for getting the FS image file into local file. Okay, and print topology. This will print the rack awareness. How many racks are there, and into each rack, how many data nodes are there, and what are those data nodes like. Okay, so all these commands are for purely administrators only. Hadoop DFS Admin -report just gives you the same status of your HDFS UI. Okay, how do you store complete from production to development? So complete data from production to development. Is that your question? Okay, so generally we don't copy that entire production to entire development, because your development clusters will not be of those many nodes as production, and they don't scale as much as your production. So you will copy database by database. Okay, let's say region by region. If you want to copy the entire US data, so that data will copy, or entire Canada data if you want to copy. So that databases, the directories, whichever is needed, you'll copy. It's not like production root directory. You will take that as source, and development root directory will be given as target. That's not the case. Okay, so inside the root directories, in the data, this real time I'm speaking. So if you speak technically, yes, you can do that also. You can put production root folder as source and development source folder root folder as target. You can do that, and you can update as well. Okay. So this should have printed me a report of my HDFS. So even here in the terminal itself, they can check this is same as the summary that we have seen on the web HDFS UI, right? So what is the configured capacity, how much DFS used, and how much is pending, and how much is remaining. So how many blocks with corrupt replicas, under replicated blocks, DFS used, and these things, all this stuff, configured capacity. Okay, so you might ask me, yesterday we have seen one under replicated block, but today there is no. The reason is I used a different VM today. Yesterday I opened it from, I think, Oracle VM VirtualBox, and today I opened from this. This is Cloudera 4.2 that I opened today. Yesterday I was showing you on 5.3. Okay. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay. So as long as you're catching up things. And safe mode, you can check whether currently the name node is in safe mode or not. Okay, obviously, if you are able to create any files, and if you are able to create directories, then you are not into safe mode, but still if you want to get the safe mode. safe mode is off now. And if you want to enter into safe mode, you can enter. And safe mode is on, right? And Hadoop fs-mkdir/user/test/file files 2.
Shiva, there's one question I have.
Yes.
What is this deprecated on the terminal?
Okay. Okay. So this in the Hadoop releases. So what will happen is, this is an open source model, right? So they will come up with sometimes some of the commands, old commands, they feel like they rename them. Okay. So here it is. This is the old command, the Hadoop DFS Admin, safe mode and get. So since we were using these commands from long time, we used to follow the same syntax. And now this is suggesting you that, so in near future, this Hadoop command will get deprecated. Okay. And instead of that, use HDFS command for this. So what does that mean by, good question actually. So people should, I think I would recommend you to start with these new commands only, instead of getting these stuff. Okay, could not find our load main class FS. FS is also not needed. Unrecognized option, partial exception. No, it's not for Hadoop FS, right? It's for the DFS admin. HDFS, DFS admin, -safe mode. Sorry. Yeah. So here, this is same as your Hadoop DFS admin -safe mode get. In place of Hadoop, it is recommending you to use the HDFS. But in Hadoop FS, it didn't throw me any deprecated message. So for Hadoop FS, it's still the Hadoop only. So that's why I follow a common syntax. I keep this only Hadoop everywhere. Not like some places HDFS and some places Hadoop FS. If it gives you some deprecated message, then you can, if it stops you, if it is a hard stop, then you can change.
Okay.
Okay. So now here I'm trying to create this directory. You can see this, but cannot create directory. Name node is in safe mode. Okay. So if I want to leave the safe mode, yes, safe mode leave. Now it should create. Okay, so it got created. It didn't throw any error message. So that's a bit about. So refresh nodes, this we can only test only when we add any new data node to the cluster or remove any data node to the cluster. So they will make some configuration changes in the dfs.hosts property in the hdfs site.xml file. But this purely, too much of admin, I don't want to. And this is the same case with final upgrade as well. And fetch image, a local file. Yes, this is also for fetching FS image file. Let me show you the print topology. You can see at least here. So DFS admin. So it is having only one rack, which is named as default -rack. under that, there is only one data node with the IP address, my local host IP address, 127.0.0.1, and 50010 is the APC port number it runs on. So quickstart.cloud is the host name. So since this is my pseudo cluster, I have only one data node and one rack there. Okay. Yeah. So someone asked me that where can we, something like Windows or can we archive files on HDFS? Yes, you can do that, but practically speaking, it's not that widely being used, and it is not having that much of benefits also. So rather than its benefits, it has more limitations. Okay, so that's why it is not so widely used or popular. So Hadoop archive files or HAR files are facility to pack HDFS files into archives. Okay, advantage of the HAR files is that these files can be directly used as input files in MapReduce. But again, there is one limitation in that. For creation of your HAR files, command is Hadoop archive followed by the archive name, and that archive name should have the suffix as .har. Hyphen archive name. So this name should have, this should be in star.har format. And this is the parent path where your archive should get created. And this is the source directory, and the destination will be relative to the user directory. Parent path for your source. Source path should be relative to parent path. Destination will be relative to user directory. So something like, and removal of HAR files is a similar command. Okay, so I left this as your assignment. You can find some running examples and screenshots in our blog if you want to know further on this. I mean, there is nothing more further on this. Just to execute this on your command line or terminal, if you face any issues, you can refer the Hadoop archive files article in our blog. Okay, or you can post me. So, but this is the syntax. So archive name -p, parent directory for your source, and under that parent directory, what is the source directory that you want to consider for archiving, and this is the destination directory where you want to put. Limitation of HAR files. Creation of HAR files will create a copy of the original files. So it will not delete the source files. Instead, it will copy all those source files. I mean, it will copy those source files into this HAR file, but still the original files remains the same. That means you have two copies. You have to manually delete the source files or the original files. And that is, so that is one drawback. And the other one is archives are immutable. So once an archive is created, and in case if you want to add one more file or remove one file from that archive, you should extract that and recreate the archive once again. And the limitation with MapReduce is parallel processing is not possible with HAR files. If you have 1 GB file, even then that should get processed by one data node only. And even if you have 10 GB file, 10 GB HAR file, that entire 10 GB should get processed by one data node only. So this means archive HER files are not splittable. They are not splittable. If they are not splittable, they can't be run on multiple data nodes. Okay, so because of these limitations, we generally never use this in our practical use cases. Okay, so that's I tried to cover some of the various things. Now coming to Java API. So instead of going through all these slides, so let me take just one direct example. Then I will show you the Java programs directly, and there itself I will explain you this stuff. Okay, so I am giving you some sample programs, so working programs. Before even going there, simple ls. So let me take this. Some problem with this Eclipse. Okay. So let it be like this. Okay. So this is the basic Java program to list all the files, same as your Hadoop fs-ls. So that for that command, I have written the Java code. So instead of doing that through the command, so I can do that through Java as well. So this is my main class. I opened the main method. So I'm taking by default, path is the class that is available in Apache Hadoop FS package. So Hadoop FS package, you will have all file system related classes available. So path is one such important class to denote your HDFS paths. Okay, and file system is one another important class to get the instance of your HDFS file system or whatever the file system that you are currently in. Okay, and file status is just to denote one file status. Okay, so list of files, you can get the array into this. And configuration, Hadoop conf.configuration, this is one of the very, very important class. And the creation of object of this will do a lot more stuff in the background. So in this my main method, if you see the logic, so if I have args.length equal to 1, so that means if I provide the input argument, I am taking that argument as the path. So if I provide the path, so I am taking that path, otherwise a root is the path that I am taking by this program. And I'm creating a configuration object with new configuration. So what will this do exactly? Creation of this new configuration object will read all your conf directory, entire your conf directory of your Hadoop. So the file system, where is the Hadoop? It reads all these site.xml files present in this conf folder. Your Hadoop conf folder, this Hadoop conf.conf configuration object will look for the Hadoop conf directory and reads these site.xml files and the default.xml files also. And it reads these and it gets all these values. Okay, so it stores them as a key value base. This has a configuration property name, and this is the property value. So by looking at this property fs.defaultFS, it knows that it should point to this HDFS : //quickstart.cloudera:8020. So on this host name, on this 8020 port number, our HDFS is running. Okay. So with just this conf object creation, it reads all these 4 site.xml files and it reads all the property names and values and stores that in conf object. Okay, so how it stores, I will whether it stores or not, let's see by displaying one of the property there in the next program. Okay. So with that conf object that you have created, so if you pass that conf object to the file system, so file system has a static method, get method. So if you pass this conf object, so in this conf object, it will look for this property mainly, fs.defaultFS. In the get method of file system, it will look for the fs.defaultFS, and by looking at this file system URI, it brings the instance of that file system. And you have the file system in hand, and inside that file system object, you can list the status of all the files just by passing the path of that directory. So this method is available on your file system object. And so I am getting that into file status array. So I'm looping that through this and printing those names, file.getPath.getName. So whoever are coming from Java background, it's very simple for them, but coming from non-Java background, it takes a while to digest all this stuff. So here mainly you are dealing with 4 classes. So in order to specify the HDFS paths, we are using the path objects, and this is by default. These 2 lines in sequence you will find in any of the programs, not just in your HDFS Java clients, in your MapReduce programs, or anywhere you are dealing with your HDFS files through the Java programs, you will see these 2 lines being present. Okay, so this is to read all your configuration files, and this is to create the object or instance of your HDFS file system. And that file system, you can find a lot of methods. Just Eclipse itself will help you in finding a lot of them, like fs.open, access a path, append to a file, so close a file system, concatenate, copy from local, copy to local file, create a file. So these many methods are available on the file system. So out of them, so which one you have, which one we have taken now is list status of path of args0. So to list all the files. Okay. So once you know the usage of Eclipse, so half of your Java development will become easier. So I should make this as a jar file, export as a jar. Okay, so export as Java jar, enter jar. So next, so store that jar file in some your directories. So you can select your directories This is my home directory, and I'm naming that as HDFS client.jar. Okay, so next, and finish. So now I have that jar created. And to run that jar, so we should either use the Hadoop jar command or yarn jar command. So we have command called Hadoop jar and followed by your jar name, HDFS client.jar, and you should specify the main class that you want to run inside that jar. Okay. So if I don't specify the path, it is taking by default the root. Let's see, class not found simple ls. So the reason might be I might be okay. So my class is present in this project package. So I should prefix that. Okay. So these are the directories that I have in my root folder: HBase solar temp user where. And if I give the path /user, let's see what will happen. So under user, I have Cloudera, History, Hive, Uzi, and Spark. Yes, these are correct only, right? Okay, so here I just printed only the names. Okay, but I want you to simulate same as your HDFS Hadoop FS minus LS results. So that is also simple, Hadoop FS minus LS. So I'm displaying only this part now, right? So I will leave you to this as assignment to print as it is, including the permissions, all this stuff. So give it a try. I mean, ideally speaking, in real time, you will rarely, very rarely, you may come across using this. So 99.5% of the scenarios, we generally don't use this Java clients for HDFS. But in case, whenever if you have a need for that, you should not get worried about that. So I thought I will cover you so as much as I can.
Shiva, quickly, what were you trying to do there? You were trying to call the Java, little bit lost there.
So I'm whatever my Hadoop FS-ls command is listing the directories once given a path. So the same. So for this command itself in the background uses some Java logic to print all this stuff. So that Java I am writing.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So in case through your programs, if you want to handle this way, because you are writing some project and most probably you will be writing in Java, and in case if you want to check whether a file is present or not, right? So if you do the ls here through the command line, so you will know that. But can you run that your command line terminal command in your Java program? No, right? So the alternative to get that done is this way. So get the path object, so create the conf object and get the file system instance and check whether fs.exists of path or not. Just to fs.exists of a path. So that will tell whether that particular file is present on your HDFS or not. So if the file is present, do your logic separately. If the file is not present, then throw your exception. So file not found exception. So while doing something programmatically, so you might need this. Okay. So not that frequently useful, but good to know this. Good to have this knowledge. But till now, whatever we have discussed, the most important things that you should concentrate is your Linux commands and your Hadoop FS commands. That is mandatory for everyone to learn. Those things you will use almost in your day-to-day life, almost every day. So these things, very rare scenarios. Okay, so this is just simple listing. And similarly, in order to create a file, in order to create a directory, okay, I have given you one more file. The same, the classes that I need. In order to create a directory, I should have a path class, and file system and configuration. Here, I want to get the value of my fs.default fs configuration property. Okay, so in my main method, so I just check for whether the argument's length is less than 1 or not. If it is less than 1, then I'm throwing an error message saying that. So for creation of a directory, I need an input. I need a path to create that, right? So I'm creating a conf object here. So configuration conf and the configured file system. So file system name I'm getting conf.getFS parameter. So I don't need two places.
Hey, Shiva, I have a question for you, Shiva, here.
This Lakshman, right?
Yeah, this is Lakshman, Shiva.
Yeah, Lakshman.
See, I can use the same concept as make a Java client and maybe take a file and transform the file, do some transformation and upload the file to HDFS, right?
Yep.
Okay. And is that typical or you use some other way?
To create your files locally and upload it to HDFS?
And do some transformation on the file and, finally...
Obviously, that is typical, but not through this Java program that I am showing you right now.
Right.
That is through MapReduce programs, where we are going to mix this code. So there also you will see this path classes, file system, and configuration. So why I am showing you this? So some of these classes will be helpful in MapReduce as well. And you should not, you should be a bit familiar by that.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Yep. So any transformations that you want to do in the file content, so that we'll take it as part of MapReduce sessions. We'll do that. This is basic file operations that I'm trying to do.
Sure. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. So this configured file system, I'm taking the input, the directory which I need to create from the input arguments, args of 0, getting the file system instance, and on my file system instance, similar to exists method and similar to list status method, I have make dirs to create a directory, mkdirs, okay, and provide the path object, new directory. And let's see whether this directory gets created or not. And the same stuff. So we export this char and have that there. and run that. So either you can use Hadoop jar command or yarn jar command will also serve the same purpose. Yarn jar, HDFS client, and mkdir. Okay, let's give /cloudera / new directory 10. So configured file system is, so it is pointing to this. So it was able to successfully fetch this value from this course site, right? This is the value I printed. So here is my, see, conf.get and passed this parameter name. Get value for this parameter, then it went into this core site dot, not just into core site, it looks into all the site.xml files. It will look for a property with that name, given name, the given name, conf.get, whatever the parameter. With this given name, it looks for the values and it found this value and it printed me. And then it works on this HDFS. Okay, and is directory created? Yes, true. So we can list that directory with our previous simple ls. Okay, so you can do that. So now, so what we will do is, similarly, we'll write to a file inside the directory. Okay, so to HDFS, I have one simple write to file Java class written. So I have taken a text string. So hello HDFS, elephants are awesome. So this simple example, I have a string. So that string, text string, converting that into bytes and byte array, from byte array input stream, taking the buffered input stream to read that into an input stream. Okay, so at the end I created an input stream object for this string, and into which path I should write this. I specified the file here, but let me take this from arguments. Let me pass this as argument instead of hard coding here. So I will pass this as argument. And similarly, you can pass one local input file. From that file, you can read lines by lines and you can keep on appending to your file. You can do that also. But here I'm taking some simple string and writing into this file. So these two lines are common. Even this line. So path object creation, configuration creation, and so file system object creation. Okay. So file fs data output stream. So to create any file on your HDFS, so we should create on file system. We have fs.create method available. So till now we have seen fs.list status for listing all the files. Okay, and exists to check whether a file present or not. mkdirs to create a directory, and create to create a file. Okay, and to read, we'll see in the next program, open. To read a file, we should open that path. Okay, so create and provide the HDFS path. It will create an instance of the fs data output stream object. Okay, so now you have an input stream object and output stream object. From one stream to another stream, we have a utils class, which is IO utils, input output utils, copy bytes from input stream to output stream. So with the default configuration object that we have. So by default, it copies 4 KB buffers by buffer into the buffers. Okay, these are just 3-4 lines of code, but even then, if it's 3-4 lines of code, for non-Java programmers, it takes at least 2-3 days to practice these things, understand this stuff. But if you learn 1 or 2 programs, it's the same. Max, this logic is getting changed, that's it, right? Only here the calling method is getting changed. The remaining stuff, I mean, it's the same as template or skeleton for all the programs. Right? So let me make this jar, whatever. Okay, so write file. So write me .txt. Okay, so it's completed writing into that. So let's read that back. So even if you see in the read, it's the same stuff. Same classes. So files to read FS data input stream. So in Java, we have input streams for reading files and output streams to writing files. So while writing, we used output stream, which is, its a subclass is FS data output stream for HDFS file system, and FS data input stream for reading. Okay, so file system object we have seen, path, configuration. IO utils is for copying from one stream to another stream. So I created the conf object and file system FS data input stream. So just made it as null and put that logic into try catch block, because I mean I'm handling exceptions also here. Okay, so for beginners, even if you don't put the try catch blocks, let them fail, but you can put the logic outside itself without the try catch finally blocks itself. But I will try to cover this second part of Java session this Saturday itself. Okay. So fs equal file system dot get of conf, same thing, path p1 equal to new path of args of 0. And so this is the only one that is changed. So I'm calling fs.open method this time by passing the input path, assigning that to input stream, fs data input stream, and again calling the same IO utils. So this time from input stream 2, from my local file system, from my HDFS file system 2. So I'm printing on to console to read, and 4096 is the default buffer size. Bytes is the default buffer size it takes. Okay, if any IO exceptions, I'm just simply printing that stack trace. And finally, I'm closing that IO utils stream, that input stream. Any open input streams. Okay, so this read file. Okay, it read that file, hello HDFS, elephants are awesome. It printed the contents back. Okay, so here I have shown you writing from a string into file, but I want you to, I mean, any Java programmers at least take this as a serious assignment. But for non-Java, even if you don't do it for now, that's okay. I want you to read the contents from a local file and write that into HDFS file. Same as your put command. Simulate your put command. Reading from local file, copying that into. There are 2 lines need to be changed in this, and those 2 lines are also these 2 only. Okay. So how and what is the target 2 statements? I want you to explore. Okay. And next, deleting a file. Yes, you can do that. So again, all the other stuff is same. Creation of conf object. So file system, creation of the file system instance, and get the path that you want to delete, and so call the delete method on FS. Okay, so in all the programs, this is the common steps. In the FS only, file system only, we are calling different method on the file operation. Okay, so I'm not trying to escape from explaining some of the things by giving you as assignments. I'm trying to build interest in you guys. Okay, so please think in those terms. So he's simply skipping some of the topics and giving them as assignments. Don't feel like that, okay? So if you have any such complaints, then I will try to avoid that impression by covering that in sessions itself. So the jar is created there, and let me delete this file. Yes, that is deleted. Now, if I try to project dot simple ls, right? We have simple ls to list the files inside this path. Now, if we use this, it will not display any files because that file is deleted. Or even if you use Hadoop fs-ls, there is nothing to display in this directory. Right? So it got deleted. So we have seen creation of a directory, creation of a file, reading that file back, and deletion of a file, and listing down the files in a directory. So the basic 5 operations that you can do on your file systems, we have seen all the stuff. Okay, so this is just some text. And this is helpful for reading your so this portion will be helpful for the given assignment for simulating the put. Okay, so take your input arguments and get
from the console.
Yeah, and read the line by line. You can read So this is actually for new input stream reader, buffered reader, new buffered reader of PR read line. This is for PT new path of all sub 0. Yeah, this is for reading your HDFS file line by line instead of using this IO utils. So this is another option that I have given. Okay, so not for reading from your local file system. Okay, so that is also simple only if you are from Java background, or even if you are non-Java background, open in Google how to read a file in Java. You will get 2 to 3 lines of code. Put that. See, these days you have to. You should be more strong in terms of integration than developing anything from scratch. So, I mean, in my opinion, almost all the Java projects or the Java tasks that you want to do, you will get everything in the Google. So you should know how to search for that. That much knowledge if you have, you can get the answers very quickly. How to read a file in Java, you will get hell lot of answers in Stack Overflow or in many places. Java is very old and you will find hell lot of answers in the Google, not like Spark or Hadoop. So even these days for Hadoop, you will get at least moderate number of answers, but Spark and the upcoming tools, you will not find any answers in the Google. Okay. Yep. Any questions? I know some guys are silent. Yeah, as I'm telling, like, so this is not daily or use that you regularly use, very rare scenarios. But even if you want to learn this, I'm telling you that this is not that big deal. Max of 4 5 lines of code, and out of that 3 lines or 4 lines is repeated code only. Only 1 or 2 lines will get changed by the file operation.
Shiva,
these as samples. Whenever you want to do this, maximum of you will find on any files, creation of a file or delete a file or creation of a directory or listing file paths. So use these as templates and try to achieve your task. In case if you need to write in Java.
Shiva.
Yeah, Anand.
Can you narrate some examples, in real life, where did you use this?
Okay, so where do I use this is like, to be frank, I used it very rarely. In my MapReduce programs, you see these classes being used. So path object, configuration object, and so the file system object. And during that, whether I will be checking whether the target directory exists or not, whether my input directory exists or not, or that case, fs.exists method I can call. And if I have any other file operations that I want to do, there I can see. Most of the times, all the methods of the classes that I have shown you today, so you will get them in our MapReduce Java programs as well, where you will read your contents from one HDFS input file and you will write your contents into another HDFS files.
So this is not needed to modify any Hadoop source code, right?
No,
you
no.
don't have to do that.
No, you don't need to do that.
Okay. This is more to load the data and troubleshoot that stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, many people will skip this topic, the Java clients topic, but I want you to be aware of this. Okay, as a developer, learning the HDFS commands from the last 4 or 5 sessions is sufficient for your day-to-day roles and responsibilities, and even for your interviews.
Shiva, this is Murli.
Yeah, Murli.
See, actually, as of now, we are doing the commands on the Linux prompt, and now today, some wrote the Java programs for reading the files, writing the files. Everything is. So as of now, some people are there in the group, me also, from the people who are working like Impala things. What is the next step? See, suppose I install in the Java.
Your voice is lost. We lost you, Murli. I didn't even get the gist of the question. If it is, what is the next plan in our course contents? So we'll be taking up the MapReduce sessions next. So reading the HDFS files and performing the transformations, whatever Lakshman was asking, right? So those transformations we'll be doing, and so we'll try to get the concepts of MapReduce. Then we'll cover Hive, Impala, Peak, and HBase. So after that, some of the ingestion tools, Scoop, Flume, and Uzi, that stuff. Hello, Murli? I think you are back. Some connectivity issues for you, Murli. Okay, any other questions from anyone? I'm still left with half an hour, 30 minutes, but today I will leave you early by explaining these assignments.
Shiva, I have one question.
Yes, Neetu.
I was trying those, I wanted to try today the shell script codes that you have sent. So, how can I read those shell scripts? Like, how can I bring it to the terminal? Because I cannot open that file to copy the contents into the terminal.
You can't copy the contents. So these files you are talking about, right? So this example source code, the Linux that I have given.
Yes, yeah.
So you're not able to copy this into your VM?
Yeah.
You're not able to copy paste here?
Yes. Can you just quickly tell me so that I can observe where I'm?
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll help. It's simple. I mean, the simple copy will work. So just copy this. Copy and paste it. So it got copied into your Cloudera machine, right? Now, in order to execute this, so how do you execute your shell script commands? First,
I can go to the home Cloudera.
Even we can drag and drop, no?
That is present in desktop. I will change my directory to desktop.
Okay.
SH and followed by command line args. So whether is it expecting any arguments or not, command not found, line 1. So line 2, $command not found. Total number of command line arguments are 0. So correct, right? I didn't provide any arguments. So command line arguments dot sh is the script name, is the first argument, is the second argument, all of them are. Okay. So it is asking for 2 arguments, 100 and sample. Let me get. So command not found, line 1, command line arguments, line 2. So it's telling me that total number of line arguments are 2, and 100 is the first argument and sample is the second argument. Okay. So some basic shell scripting that is present. That's it. That is how you edit.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. Yeah. This VI $VI demo is also not needed. You can remove this. Okay, so that's why it is throwing that error message in the beginning. So $VI demo, what will this do? It will open a
The BI editor.
Yep, VI editor for writing this demo file. Okay, but this is not needed in my script. Okay. So don't simply blindly follow, just keep listening the sessions. I want you to be thoroughly practicing this as well. So that's why I'm giving you 3 days off so that you can practice any backlogging topics. So come up with all the things. Okay. So I have still 30 more minutes to discuss any of your open questions related to HDFS. If not, we'll wrap up today and we'll freshly meet on Monday with our MapReduce topic.
Are you done with HDFS, Shiva?
Yes, Akila.
Then I would like to ask one question. What is HDFS Federation? I saw in Hadoop Definitive Guide link that's provided by you.
So HDFS Federation, that is more like when you have more number of data nodes, like thousands of data nodes. In that case, you will have different namespaces concept. Okay, so in reality, in production or in dev environments, I haven't seen that coming into picture as of now. Okay, so that got recently introduced in 2.x releases, 2.3 or 2.2 or 2.3 onwards, the HDFS Federation, where you will have multiple name nodes, not just one name node. So as of now in the architecture that I have shown you, right?
Yeah, you showed us like we'll be having a recovery node, journal node.
One primary name node and one backup name node. So that way you will have multiple primary name nodes also. So 100 nodes cluster, for 100 node cluster you will have one primary name node, and another 100 data nodes you will have another name node, and another 100 data nodes you will have another primary name node. This is same like virtually combining 3 or 4 clusters into one single cluster. Okay. So, but as of now, I didn't coming live into anywhere.
Okay, for one application, if they are running in one cluster, if another application they are running in other cluster, and another application in other cluster, all these clusters will be kept in one rack. That what is
not in one rack? Virtually can be connected through the same URI. Like you will get a feel of that is as one cluster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but this is still in textbooks only, not in.
Okay. And I saw it in the textbook that was provided by you. So.
Still in theory part only, not in practicals.
Even I saw one word called QJM journal node. What is that?
Journal node is nothing but the backup node. Yesterday I shown that in this.
Yeah, I know journal node is backup node, but I saw this word QJM. What is QJM?
QJM.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't heard of that actually.
Actually, Quorum Journal.
Oh, that is a different topic. I will cover that. Okay. That comes as part of your Zookeeper. Zookeeper Quorum peer main or Quorum journal nodes. That I will help. That I will try to explain you during your HBase concepts.
Okay.
So that is again not needed for developers. That is only for administrators.
Okay. I just saw those words and they are little complicated and I was not able to take in, so I just asked.
No, you don't need to worry about that quorum stuff. As a developer, you will not be dealing with those quorums. The quorum setup and everything will be done by your administrators only.
Okay.
So is it right time to ask what does Hadoop developer do? Right time to ask, but not right time to answer this. You just learn HDFS. So with HDFS, what you can do, so you can at max your local file systems, you can upload into HDFS. And that might come as part of your day-to-day roles and responsibilities. So once you load into HDFS, what you will do that is what we are going to cover from Monday session. Maybe once after completion of your Hive or so, then you will get to know by yourself what will be your developer goals. I don't need to especially highlight it also. So now
I'm actually really, I feel scared, to be honest. That feels scary today.
Yeah, you feel so.
Java clients, I'm telling you, right, this Java clients is not part of your day-to-day roles and responsibilities. Only the HDFS commands is needed till now, and the understanding of Hadoop architecture. What is name, node stuff.
See, in Hadoop, we can't do anything with one tool. We need to depend on other tool. So that's the reason why we feel so scared. Like if we lost with one tool, we may not process. That's
Another reason to be scared is all those participants. It seems that everybody is working in Hadoop or having a Java background. So
not everyone. I can say 2 or 3 guys are having Java background.
Oh, really?
And all others.
But Java is only used in the previous slides. What Sir said, no, Shiva said, no, only for those things. Java.
Yep. All others are your basic commands only, right? And in MapReduce, I mean, again, you get little scared, but after that, you will master all the tools.
But Shiva, it's bad like that for Java developers. Even the MapReduce is getting deprecated.
Yep. So MapReduce is slowly getting deprecated. You don't need to worry, but you should have the concepts. Okay. So because that is where all the parallel processing concepts came into picture, into Hadoop. So the roots, it's better to have an awareness of those concepts. Okay.
One more thing, Shiva. You have given so many commands to practice. So is there any website where I can find good examples to practice, like some?
It's there in our blog only. It's there in our blog only.
Okay.
So you can find all those topics that we discussed and even more, a lot more than that we discussed in the blog. You can refer. Let me show you. Okay. So how to navigate and browse through that.
Shiva, yesterday I asked you one question, like what is difference between vertical cluster and horizontal?
Vertical clusters and horizontal clusters. That is something like so horizontal clusters means you will keep on adding the data nodes, and it will not be your. I mean, what does I mean by? You can keep on adding the same configuration data nodes, n number of data nodes into the existing cluster. So vertical clustering means. So is it vertical scaling and horizontal scaling? Yes. So horizontal scaling means, let's say, I can tell you this with example. Right? So horizontal scaling, vertical. So let's say you have I have 128 GB RAM and 24 core CPUs. Core CPU machines, as there are 10 machines like this, okay, in the cluster. So if this 10 machines cluster is not sufficient to process your data, so if you add 10 more machines with the same configuration, 10 more machines, now you have 20 machines with 128 GB RAM and so 24 core CPUs. So this is called as horizontal scaling or horizontal cluster.
Can we do the same with vertical cluster?
I'm coming there. Okay. So horizontal clustering. So what does mean by vertical cluster means instead of going for 10 more machines, you will, so you need double the performance. Instead of making your machines double, you will make the configuration double. You will make it 256 GB RAM and 48 core CPUs and still keeping the same 10 machines. This is called as vertical cluster. And always horizontal scaling is more preferred than your vertical scaling. That is like scale up. This is also called as a scale up approach, and this is scale out approach. This is scale out approach. Okay.
Shiva.
Yeah.
I got two questions. Number one, is there a data standardization slash in Hadoop if I want to do standardize the data?
What exactly do you mean by standardization of data?
Like for example, I want to do address, like an address parser to standardize, addresses, to standardize like names of account names.
Okay.
Right?
No. So you don't have specific methods, commands available for that. That is part of our programming or transformations that we need to take care of that stuff.
You can do customized thing.
Yep.
So we'll have to write.
We only have to customize that. Yep, we need to write that.
Shiva, can we run stored procedures?
Can we run stored procedures? Not. Stored procedures cannot be run as is on your Hadoop clusters. We need to convert them into appropriate Hive logic or Impala logic into the just SQL commands, or you write the appropriate equivalent Java code or MapReduce code or Spark Scala code and run them.
But they can be scheduled and done that kind of stuff.
Yes, scheduling is fine. Scheduling can be done. Yep.
But then it has to be transformed.
Yes, it has to be transformed either into MapReduce Java programs or Hive or Impala SQL commands script or Spark SQL, Spark Scala programs.
Shiva, do we have concept of indexing in Hadoop?
Indexing is there in Hive and Impala, but that is not widely recommended. It will not give much difference.
Okay. Is it in terms of performance?
Yes, in terms of performance.
Okay.
And there is no integrity, right, Shiva?
Well, what about the integrity?
No, referential integrity.
Referential integrity, yeah, again, we only have to maintain that. See, this is same like your initial days of your Oracle. Any technology coming in the initial days. So in the initial days of Oracle, so tuning of your SQL queries was so important, right? So it was like these days, even if you write your queries, SQL queries may not be that efficiently. Your Oracle optimization engine will take care of optimizing your queries and does all this stuff, right?
Right.
The same like
one more.
Initial days of your Hadoop. You might not find all the features that you are getting in the traditional RDBMSs, like referential integrity, indexing, and all other stuff. But here there is one big advantage, which is free. Cost is zero. Only the commercial support cost is there. And second one is scalability.
Right. So
at the cost of losing some of the fancy features, you can get them by writing your own code. Obviously, even in Oracle, so how will they provide? They have some logic written in the background. So you have to do that logic. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a very initial, open source.
Yeah.
You have to add
Okay, so at least over the past 2 years, we have observed a lot of differences. Like at least we got so many functions that we were expecting. Like even in Hive, we were not having date and timestamp data types, numeric data types. Other than int, we were not having double, decimal, all that stuff. So we have seen a lot of string operations, many things coming, and many different types of file formats being handled. So we have seen a lot of growth and development, improvement in the Hadoop open source framework. Okay, so it will slowly grow.
And one more, I think so, given what I'm hearing from you, so we'll probably spend more time into MapReduce and Hive and Impala.
Whoever is coming from non-Java background, I would not recommend you to spend more time in MapReduce, at least in the initial go. The reason is you may feel it complex for the first time. Okay, I would recommend you to focus on Hive, Impala, HBase, and
Got it.
And Pig. So just learning those 4 perfectly and Scoop and OZ will get you at least, into good shape. Okay, so once you are perfect in these areas, then you can enter into MapReduce, mastering the MapReduce topics. Obviously, you need HDFS commands.
Okay, so Shiva, you were showing me the assignments on your blog.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So if you go into Hadoop, so you can start from all these things. What is Hadoop? Hadoop history, popular distributions, Hadoop installations. How can you do? So parcels installation, package installations. You can do different types. Okay, and so design concepts. Whatever we have discussed, blocks, secondary name node, checkpoint node, backup name node, safe mode, Hadoop, rack awareness, rebalance, archive files. You can see examples and screenshots for each of these articles. Okay, so that is the good thing that you will get from these articles. So not very.
But I was asking for the HDFS commands.
Yes. I'm coming there. Okay, so you can see the HDFS commands here. Under HDFS, file system commands, Hadoop FS commands, and administration commands, and Distcp is also there. And few more information, articles on web UI, and similarly FS image, how to view the FS image, how to view the edit log, Java API for HDFS, and special file formats, and some of the best practices. Okay. And this is this article that will be useful for infrastructure teams. This one, HDFS nodes storage calculation formula. Generally, you don't need to worry. Even administrators don't need to worry. The infrastructure team will worry about how to calculate the node storage, how many nodes you need. Okay. So for practicing on your commands, yes, just refer this article. So file system commands. So where is this HDFS commands? Or file system commands. So click that. You will find all the commands with screenshots, executed screenshots.
Okay.
Okay. So the help of execution of these commands and all the arguments explained. So most of them I executed in the session itself. You can refer the video. If not, you can refer this. Okay, around 23 commands are there. Any other questions?
Shiva, two more and I'll let you go. Number one, for the name node, how many data nodes can a name node support? Like a standard?
Like a standard, it can grow up to even I have seen up to 400 also in our clients cluster. Even so, that means that is not a small count. Okay, so that's really huge count. You can store petabytes of information. There we were storing almost close to 1.8 petabytes. Means, so 1 petabyte means 1000 terabytes, right? So almost like 1800 terabytes on 400 node cluster.
And this was using only one name node, huh?
One name node, yes. So 256 GB RAM and so name node. So I mean, there is nothing to do with name node. It only serves your request. It will not perform the actual process, right? So it will point you to which data node you should deal with, and your data node will come into picture. You have seen that in the file read or file write anatomy, right?
Right. Okay. That's a lot of name nodes. And rack wise, there is rack can be
rack wise. As per the standards, I have observed like 40 nodes per rack, maximum of 40 nodes. So some places I have seen even 5 nodes per rack, 10 nodes per rack also. Yeah. So what all things are expected from 1.5 years to 2 years experience guy in the market? So where should be the focus? So focus should be on Hive, Impala, HBase and MapReduce, Scoop and Woozy, and basic shell scripting and the HDFS commands. See, I mean, I repeat the same answer. You need all of them, not just one. Okay.
And Shiva, what's the input file types? You said XML and the flat files.
I will be slowly covering them during our so some in MapReduce, some in Hive. So those.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Any more questions? Yeah. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Then we'll meet. Hey, sorry. I mean, I have prepared this assignments file. So go through this, and I will be placing there. I want you to come up with the answers for this assignments. Okay.
Ishwar, do you expect the answers to be in the same drive or is it email thing?
You can send me in the email.
Okay, I see. Okay.
We will not have write permissions to the drive. Only read permissions will be there. So I would prefer you to send me to the email.
Sure, I've sent you the Unix one.
Linux one, yeah. So screenshots is also fine for me. Yep. Yes, try to give me screenshots. If not, the code delivery. If I ask you somewhere for the code delivery, just send me the code something like this Java client for this stuff, send me the code. For others, like where you need to measure the performance differences or some other things, then share me the screenshots of them. So at least to get the confidence whether people are practicing it or not.
How to do screenshot in Ubuntu, Shiva?
Same, print screen, alt print screen will work.
Alt print screen.
It's not working?
No, I didn't try. I'm trying Command Shift screen 3 in my Mac and it's not working.
Oh, okay. So generally alt print screen will work.
Okay, let me try that.
Okay, yeah. Or you can minimize this and you use a snipping tool. So you keep like this and your snipping tool. Snipping tool and take the display.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think alt print screen should work.
Okay, I'll try even that.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shiva. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Let's meet on Monday.